Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Dylan, and in this one we're taking a look at all the different types of measurement question that could appear on the Year 6 Key Stage 2 SATs papers. Now I've got a whole bunch of questions. We've got some actual measuring, we've got some word problems. I'm going to dive into all of them, so stick around for all the different types of question that could come up. I'm actually going to start with how to measure properly. Now, we did a whole video on this, but it's something that's well worth going over because there are some questions in the SATs papers where you have to use measuring equipment. So I'm going to show you how to use a ruler in this one, and then look at the protractor after, which is a very common question we get. Show us how to do use a protractor properly. Let's start with this one. What is the perimeter of the shape in millimeters? And it gives you a prompt here to use a ruler. So that's very important. We need to take this ruler and we need to know how to actually measure sides accurately. Something that's really important when we take our ruler, if I want to measure side A to D, so I'm going to start in this corner here, this would be incorrect. This is not right. Now, are you shouting at the screen to tell me why? I hope so. Because when we use a ruler, we have to start where the markings start, not just the edge of the ruler. So you'll see here, if I get my pen over, that this is actually where the ruler starts measuring from. This extra bit here is just a little bit of give. Imagine that the ruler gets worn down over time. It still can be used because it's from here. It's not from the edge of the ruler. And if you look at any ruler, you'll see the same thing. There'll be a bit of a gap. So what we actually have to do is make sure the line starts where our markings start, which is here. Okay, so I've measured this now using this ruler. This is not to scale, but let's say this line down here, it's 6 centimeters. Okay, and it's important to know what units are on your ruler as well, because look at the question. The question gives the units millimeters. So I'm going to measure in centimeters because that's what my ruler has, and I'm going to find that useful, but I'm going to have in the back of my mind that the question can flip those units and trick you out. So now I've done A to D. I'm actually going to rotate my ruler. I'm going to put it sideways like this, and I'm going to start measuring from where it says B precisely, right there, down to 3, and then actually I have some millimeters left over. So I've got 3.1 and 3.2. So this side here is 3.2 centimeters. Cool. Now I've got 2 more to do. Now the last one I did was vertical, and the one before was horizontal. Now we have diagonal lines, and what we have to do really carefully with diagonal lines, can you see here, I've got it lined up with C. We could be like this. Line it up with C. Oh, look, it doesn't go across the line. You need to make sure, if you turn your paper, do whatever you have to do to make sure that ruler is flat against that line. Even this, I'm not particularly happy with. I'm going to change it a little bit. That looks better to me. So I'm going to measure this as 7 centimeters right there, going from 0 all the way down to 7. So I'll label that as 7 centimeters. Now I've got one more left on the left-hand side over here. Going to rotate my ruler again, get it right up there, and I'm going to go from 0 at B all the way up to C, which I can see is just past 3. I'm going to call that one 3.2 as well. So when you're measuring this, if you're doing the question in real life, obviously you need to be very careful with your measuring. Try and get as accurate as a measurement as possible. We're going to get rid of my ruler now, and I'm going to add these up because perimeter is all the way around the shape. So 7 plus 6 is 13. And over here we have 3.2 plus 3.2. That's going to give me 6.4. Add these up, I get 0.4, and then 6 plus 3 is 9, and the 10 comes down. So that's 19.4 millimeters. So just beware, this is testing your knowledge of perimeter, testing your knowledge of exchanging from millimeters to centimeters, which your ruler might be. If your ruler already has millimeters, well then that's perfect. You could have just measured from there, but also adding up and putting in the right amount. So that's 19.4. It requires you to use a ruler accurately. You also will get questions that require you to use a protractor. And this here is a protractor. It's called an angle measurer. In the SATs, you may see it written like that. It wants you to use an angle measurer. So I want to measure the angle D. Here's how you use a protractor. You take this, firstly, let's make sure it's actually on top, shall we? So we're going to put it right to the front. So it's on top of our question. Don't put it underneath your test paper. That wouldn't be very helpful. So we're going to line up here. This cross we can see right in the middle. We're going to line it up perfectly with where the corner of the lines are, which is right here. Okay. It would be wrong if we put it here or here. Has to go between the 2 lines of the angle we're measuring. So right there is perfect. And then the flat line across the bottom, we look to check that we're using the 0, not the 180. That would be measuring from the other side. I want to start from this 0 here. And I'm going to measure all the way around up to the top. and I can see it's just below 55, and my angle therefore is 54 degrees. If you do not line up your protractor correctly in the first place, right here, you're not going to get an accurate angle measurement, and you're not going to get the answer right. So that's how you use those two. We can also get questions like this, which combine them. Okay, so here we have to draw the full size triangle accurately. We need a 35 degree angle down here and 8 centimeters across the bottom. So this is relying on you using both. What you would do for this one, you take your protractor to one side. Let's hide it behind me there. I'm going to put the ruler up, and I want firstly an 8 centimeter line across the bottom. So I'm going to get my line tool. I'm going to go from 0 across to 8, and I know that's measured accurately now. I'm now going to get rid of my ruler, put it behind me, and then over there, take my protractor, and I'm going to line up from the side here, because I can see in my picture, it's a 35 degree angle from this corner. So I'm going to take this corner, I'm going to go from 0, 10, 20, 30, 35. It's going to go there, and now I can take that away. And I also know that this is a right angle here, so I can put my protractor there again, and then measure exactly 90 degrees, which is to the top up here. And what I would say is for the 90 degree angle, I take the ruler because I know it's just a straight line going up, and I can make that as tall as I need it to be for now, because I'll be doing this in pencil. So let's just say it's extra tall, because then what I can do is, if I know that this is a 35 degree angle, because I've measured it, going to this point here where I've put my dot, I can get my line tool from the corner through that dot I've made, which I know is 35 degrees, right up until it meets that line that I've done there. What I've done here now is accurately drawn this triangle, get rid of my ruler, get rid of my protractor. I've measured the 35 degrees here, so I know that's correct. I've measured the right angle, I know that's correct. This is 8 centimeters, and the rest will fall into place if those are there. So that's why it's really important to be able to use a ruler and protractor, because these questions can come up. But is that it to do with measurement in the SATs? No, of course it isn't. We also get in the reasoning paper questions that involve measurement. Look at this one. This is the perfect example of a question that includes measurement, but you don't really need to be an expert at measurement to answer it. In fact, this question, let's read it. The diameter of the moon is 3,476 kilometers. What is the diameter to the nearest 100 kilometers? This question would be the same if kilometers wasn't in it at all. And it's just asking us to round 3,476 to the nearest 100. So let's do that. 3,476. How many hundreds do we already have in the number? Well, let's look at the number up until the hundreds. We have 34 hundreds in this number. So that's 3,400. And the next 100 after that, 100 more, would be 3,500. Looking at the tens column is a 7. We're going to round it up. So the answer is 3,500. And look, the answer even gives you kilometers there. So this is not something where I'd be worried about measurement too much. This is just testing your rounding skills in the context of a measurement. You don't actually need to have the understanding of kilometers in any exchanging or anything like that, no conversion at all. Here's another example embedded in a 2-mark question. There are 20 boxes on a truck, and they are in 4 different sizes. 4 of them, 8 of them, 6 of them, and 2 of those. What is the total mass of the 20 boxes on the truck? So here again, 4 boxes, that's 6.5. We just do 6.5 times 4. 6.5 times 4 is 26. And now you could write kilograms or not. It doesn't matter, because look, the question has kilograms as the answer box. So you don't even need to worry about it. So we've done 4 times 6.5. Now we're going to do 8 times 4 is 32. We've done that. 6 times 2.5 there, that's going to give us 5 is 2 lots of 2.5. So that's 15 kilograms in total for 6 lots of 2.5. And then 2 boxes of 13, that's 26. So we've got 26, 32, 15, and 26. I'm just going to make sure I add all these up correctly. So 32 plus 26, that's going to give me 58. So I've added those 2 up. 15 plus 16 gives me 41. So then again, I'm going to add these up now. 41 plus 58 is 99 kilograms. At no point did it matter that this was kilograms, because it gave me it as my answer box, but it is embedded in the context that surrounds measurement. And that's really important. Okay. So those are questions that are important to look at and understand, that you shouldn't be put off if you see them and go, oh, I'm not sure about kilograms. It doesn't matter. But these now are questions where we see a bit more conversion. And conversion is the key to making a question tricky with measurement. Let's take a look at this. The height of the tallest person in history is 8 feet 11 inches. This is an imperial measurement. Okay, metric is millimeters, centimeters, meters, kilometers. Imperial is more old measurements that we still use sometimes, especially in height like this, but are starting to phase themselves out. And what we get here is a conversion table to help us out. So 1 foot is 30 centimeters and 1 inch is 2.5 centimeters. So use this conversion table to calculate the height of the tallest person in centimeters. So this is straight up conversion. We are taking 8 feet 11. We're going to use the conversion table to change it then to centimeters. So firstly, let's look at the feet. 8 feet. So 1 foot is 30. So 8 feet multiplied by 30. 8 times 3 is 24. Make it 10 times bigger because 8 times 30. That gives us 240 centimeters. And then 1 inch is 2.5. So we have 11 inches multiplied by 2.5. 11 times 2 is 22. 11 times 0.5 is 5.5. So we get 27.5 centimeters there as the answer. Now, if you have the time in the test, you can do 11 times 2 is 22. You can do 11 times 0.5 and you can put your decimal in. 0.5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 1 there is obviously 5, so that's 5.5 and add them up. But that is the answer, 27.5 centimeters. Then to get the total height, we put these together and we get 267.5 centimeters. That is conversion. Now, luckily for us, it was built into the question. We got given the conversion table. This was still testing, really, our multiplication and our understanding of the question. But it can go again to another level. Let's look at this one. There are 25 sheets of paper in a small pack and 500 sheets in a large pack. The mass of the paper in the large pack is 2.4 kilograms. What is the mass of one sheet of paper in grams? So in this question, we see this a lot, is cooked in a conversion. And it expects you to know the fact. And this is one of a few facts you need to know. 1 kilogram is equivalent to 1,000 grams. You also need to know that 1 liter is equivalent to 1,000 milliliters. And then there's a whole range with the metric system for distance that you need to know as well. So if we have 1 kilometer is 1,000 meters, we need to know that 1 meter is 100 centimeters, and we need to know that 1 centimeter is 10 millimeters. These are facts we need to know, okay? Because there will be questions that rely on you knowing them. So that's something you need to learn before you sit the SATs papers. The mass of the paper is 2.4. What's the mass of one sheet? So actually, what we're doing here really is 2.4 divided by 500, and that seems insane. I can't count in 500s to get to 2.4. Really tricky. So here's what I do. I would be changing the question. I'd be doing the conversion first. So 1 kilogram is 1,000. 2 kilograms would be 2,000, and then I've still got the 0.4 for 400. And what we're doing here now is 2,400 divided by 500. Now again, still in this question, you might be thinking, I can't count in 500s up to 2,400. That doesn't work. I go to 2,000, then I go to 2,500. Okay, there's a few ways we can do this. You can look at 2,400 and 500 and cancel both sides by 100. And you end up with 24 divided by 5. Now that seems much more manageable in terms of short multiplication. 5s into 2 don't go. 5s into 24. 5, 10, 15, 20. That's 4 times. Pass the decimal, exchange over that 4 to make 40. Put the decimal at the top. 5s into 40 go 8 times. So that would be 4.8 grams. Another way you could do this, 2,400 divided by 500. Instead of dividing by 500, you could double it. So divide it by 1,000 instead. So we're dividing it by way too much here. We're dividing it by twice too much. So we'd end up with 2.4 there. But to correct it, we can multiply the answer by 2. Divide by 1,000 and times by 2 is the same as divide by 500. Divide by 1,000 gets us 2.4, then times it by 2 still gets us our 4.8. Now there's one other thing that I see come up a lot, and it's kind of these reading, I guess it's measurement charts, I guess, or just scales, something in general where we need to convert still. Because here, draw an arrow where we see 1,350 grams, but you'll notice straight away it's 1, 1.5, and 2. That's nowhere near 1,350. Well, that's because this is in kilograms. So again, straight away, I'd be changing this to 1,000 grams. I'd be changing this to 1,500 grams. And I'd be changing this to 2,000 grams. That might help me right away because it's already in the same unit. Convert as early as possible is my hint to you. 1,350. Well, how do I know what each interval is worth? Count them up. So I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's nice. 10 jumps. But what is the total distance worth here? To go from 1,000 grams to 500 grams, that's a difference of 500 grams. So for each jump, I need to take 500 grams, I need to divide it by 10 jumps, and therefore each jump is worth 50. I'm trying to get to 1,350, so this would be 1,050, 1,100, 1,150, 1,200, 1,250, 1,300, and here is where my arrow will go. 1,350 grams. I've worked out it's 50 grams each jump. That is a really important skill to have. You need to work out what each interval is worth. You get the total distance between two amounts, how many jumps are in that distance, do some dividing, and you get this information here, which allows you to unlock the question. Guys, I've got one thing for you to have a go at now in the comments down below. I want you to explain what went wrong with this question. How should it be fixed? If you like this video, well, that's going to be really helpful for us. Share it with someone who you think will find it useful, and subscribe because we have loads more videos on the way. Guys, thank you so much. I'll see you next time.